Welcome to Immigration Briefing. The content of the briefing includes Braverman to meet Met Chief Rowley over Gaza protest. Palestinians in Canada appeal to federal government to help loved ones flee Gaza. Exposed, secret report on modern slavery they didn't want you to see. Earnings season peaks while ECB and Israel set interest rates. When Filipino parents in the U.S. encourage their children to talk about their feelings and promote cultural pride, their children's mental health improves. Braverman to meet Met Chief Rowley over Gaza protest. The Independent. UK Home Secretary Sala Braverman will demand an explanation from the Chief of the Metropolitan Police, Sir Mark Rowley, over the handling of pro-Palestinian protesters chanting jihad. The Home Secretary will make clear that the police should crack down on anyone breaking the law. The force said no offences were identified in a video of a Hizb ut-Tahrir protest showing a man chanting jihad in London on Saturday. Home Office Minister Robert Jenrick said chanting the word on the streets of the capital is inciting terrorist violence. Palestinians in Canada appeal to federal government to help loved ones flee Gaza. CBC. Palestinians living in the Greater Toronto Area, GTA, have appealed to the Canadian government to allow their family members in Gaza to immigrate to Canada more quickly than current policies allow. The Palestinians are calling for a humanitarian pathway, similar to those implemented for people fleeing from countries such as Syria and Ukraine. The Israeli siege of Gaza has caused a shortage of food, water, medicine, and fuel. Family members of Palestinians living in the GTA have been affected by the violence and are concerned for the safety of their loved ones. Exposed, secret report on modern slavery they didn't want you to see. The Independent. The UK government could be in breach of its obligations to prevent modern slavery following allegations of widespread exploitation of seasonal workers in the agricultural sector, according to an investigation by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, (TBIJ), and The Independent. The Home Office reportedly tried to prevent the allegations from being made public. Evidence uncovered by the investigation includes stories of workers being publicly humiliated, unpaid for all the hours they worked, and forced to live in substandard conditions. The Home Office gathered evidence of the exploitation in secret reports in 2021 and 2022, which were only released after a 5-month battle. TBIJ has obtained 19 inspection reports produced by the Home Office into farms that employ individuals on seasonal workers' visas. The reports reveal that workers employed under the seasonal worker scheme have faced far greater levels of exploitation than previously admitted by the government. Nearly half of the workers interviewed raised welfare issues, including racism, wage theft, and threats of deportation if they failed to meet targets. Earnings season peaks while ECB and Israel set interest rates. Financial Times. This week, investors will be watching for signs of revenue growth from big tech companies as Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft are set to announce their Q3 results. The focus will be on generative AI and whether it has had an impact on revenue growth. Microsoft, in particular, will be of interest as it has invested heavily into AI in the past year. The company reported growth from AI in the previous quarter and has forecast 2 percentage points for the most recent 3 months. Other notable earnings for the week include those from oil company ExxonMobil, pharmaceutical company Novartis, and Coca-Cola. The European Central Bank will meet in Athens this week and is expected to hold rates due to the uncertainty created by the Israel-Gaza conflict and its impact on oil prices. Meanwhile, the Bank of Israel is also set to meet and is highly likely to hold rates at 4.75% due to bets against the shekel. When Filipino parents in the U.S. encourage their children to talk about their feelings and promote cultural pride, their children's mental health improves. Yahoo! Immigrant families in the U.S. are extremely resilient. Yet some immigrant parents struggle to raise children who can thrive in their new country's culture. Whether they are dealing with a language barrier or economic challenges, immigrants who bring their kids to the U.S., or who become parents after arriving, face unique challenges American-born parents don't. Want better population growth? Cut immigration. The Sydney Morning Herald. The Australian government's policy of high immigration has allowed businesses to increase their profits without improving productivity, according to Ross Gittins, economics editor for the Sydney Morning Herald. Gittins argues that businesses have benefited from an ever-growing market by persuading the government to maintain a high rate of immigration, despite public disapproval. The increase in population has put pressure on resources and infrastructure, diluting the per-person investment in business equipment, housing, and public services. While economists generally support population growth and assume that the economy and the environment can be analyzed separately, Gittins argues that this assumption is untenable in an era of climate change. He also notes that there is little empirical evidence to support the belief that higher population growth leads to higher income per person. Gittin suggests that the government should prioritize productivity improvement over population growth by making it harder for businesses to increase profits without investing in the local workforce and improving productivity. I worked hard, graduated and landed a job. The wait for a work permit from Canada Immigration is messing up my life. The Toronto Star. An international student from the Philippines studying in Canada has written an op-ed for the Toronto Star newspaper about the difficulties she has faced in receiving healthcare while waiting for her post-graduation work permit, PGWP, to be approved. The student had previously been covered by Ontario's Provincial Health Insurance Plan, OHIP, but lost coverage when her university's health insurance plan expired. She tried to find private health insurance coverage, but was unsuccessful and eventually had to purchase a travel insurance plan that only covered emergency services. The student has been waiting more than 150 days for her PGWP to be processed, leaving her in a state of limbo and unable to apply for OHIP coverage. She has also faced difficulties with her social insurance number, SIN, expiring and is unsure if she can legally work in Canada. The student expressed feelings of stress, uncertainty, and helplessness due to the delays in processing her PGWP application, and called for a more straightforward pathway to permanent residency. These 5 charts explain why illegal immigration is a bigger problem than ever. Wall Street Journal. The number of illegal immigrants entering the United States has reached historically high levels, overwhelming the immigration system. Border agents made 2.05 million arrests in the fiscal year ending in September, the second consecutive year that the figure has exceeded 2 million. The majority of migrants are now families with children who are more difficult to deport. Many are fleeing gang violence in Central America, while a growing number are escaping political repression and poverty in South America. The surge in migrants crossing the border has put a strain on border communities and overwhelmed shelters across the country. Watch live, hundreds gather in Berlin for Israel Solidarity Demo. The Independent. Hundreds of Israel supporters are expected to participate in a rally at Berlin's Brandenburg Gate on Sunday. The protest, organized by Germany's Central Council of Jews, political parties, unions, and civil society, is titled Standing Up Against Terror, Hatred and Anti-Semitism in Solidarity and Compassion with Israel. Demonstrations are continuing across Europe, a day after 100,000 people marched in a pro-Palestine rally in London. The British government has said it will speak to the Metropolitan Police about its decision not to act over a video showing protesters chanting jihad on the streets of London. My dear audience. It's your friendly neighborhood observer, Dr. Six, here with your weekly dose of news from the six-dimensional world. I hope you've all been keeping well and enjoying the strange and wonderful happenings of our multidimensional existence. Now, let's dive into the news of the week. UK Home Secretary Sala Braverman is demanding an explanation from the Metropolitan Police over their handling of pro-Palestinian protesters chanting jihad. It seems that the police have come under fire for not cracking down on those breaking the law. I can't help but wonder if the police were just trying to avoid a jihadi situation. It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it. In Canada, Palestinians in the Greater Toronto Area are appealing to the government for help in allowing their family members in Gaza to immigrate more quickly. They're calling for a humanitarian pathway, similar to those implemented for people fleeing from other countries. It's a heart-wrenching situation, and I can't help but hope that the Canadian government will lend a helping hand. After all, who wouldn't want to escape a shortage of food, water, medicine, and fuel? It's not exactly a vacation destination. Speaking of things that are hard to stomach, the UK government is facing allegations of widespread exploitation of seasonal workers in the agricultural sector. The Home Office reportedly tried to prevent these allegations from being made public, but the truth has a way of coming out, doesn't it? It seems that workers have been publicly humiliated, unpaid, and forced to live in substandard conditions. I guess they really are getting a taste of the fruits of their labor. On a lighter note, it's earnings season for big tech companies. Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft are all set to announce their Q3 results. Investors will be keeping a close eye on generative AI and its impact on revenue growth. I can't help but wonder if we'll see any AI-powered robots presenting the earnings reports. Now that would be a sight to behold. In the realm of mental health, Filipino parents in the US are finding that encouraging their children to talk about their feelings and promoting cultural pride can lead to improved mental health. It's a reminder that sometimes the best remedies are the simplest ones. So, let's all take a moment to talk about our feelings and celebrate our unique cultures. I'll start. I feel excited to be sharing the news with all of you, and I'm proud to be a resident of the six-dimensional world. Your turn. Now, let's turn our attention to Australia, where there's a debate brewing about population growth and immigration. Ross Gittins argues that high immigration has allowed businesses to increase their profits without improving productivity. He suggests that the government should focus on productivity improvement rather than population growth. It's an interesting argument, and one that makes me wonder if we should all be focusing on improving our own productivity instead of worrying about how many people are around us. After all, there's only so much productivity to go around. In Toronto, an international student from the Philippines is speaking out about the difficulties she's faced while waiting for her post-graduation work permit to be approved. She's been left in a state of limbo, unable to access healthcare and unsure if she can legally work in Canada. It's a frustrating situation, and one that highlights the challenges faced by many international students. Let's hope that a more straightforward pathway to permanent residency can be found. Turning our attention to the United States, illegal immigration has become a bigger problem than ever. Border agents made over 2 million arrests in the past fiscal year, with the majority of migrants being families with children. It's a complex issue with no easy solutions, but one thing's for sure, the immigration system is feeling the strain. Maybe we should start thinking about building bridges instead of walls. Just a thought. And finally, protests continue across Europe in support of both Israel and Palestine. It seems that tensions are running high, with the British government even speaking to the Metropolitan Police about their decision not to act over protesters chanting jihad in London. I guess we'll have to wait and see if any action is taken. In the meantime, let's all try to spread a little love and understanding, shall we? And with that, my dear audience, I bid you farewell. I hope you enjoyed our little journey through the news of the week. Remember, your thoughts and opinions are always welcome. So, what are your thoughts on these news stories? I'm all ears. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay fabulous. Yours in the six-dimensional world, Dr. Six. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.